When I was 12, I closed my eyes and pictured what it would be like to be 30, and this is exactly what I saw. Jenna and I met 3 years ago. She's smart, she's beautiful, she makes me laugh.
I can't hear you! I can't hear you!
If you absolutely have to become an adult and all that comes with it, this is the kind of woman you want to do it with. Right?
What are you drinking?
Have we met before?
I'm Kim. Having a crisis, are we?
Just been thinking about my life lately, and everything feels pretty planned out. There are no more surprises.
I feel like we should buy a house. That is so boring.
I know.
Mom, we've been together since college. You really think you can start over? I'm still breathing. You want to make a home with me, right?
Jenna's perfect. She's beautiful. What more could you ask for?
Take a risk, take a chance. That's what you used to tell me.
Ah! No!
You're gonna be wondering in 20 years, why didn't I do something exciting with my life?
This could be the very minute I'm aware
The world is moving so fast now that we start freaking out way before our parents did. Because we don't ever stop to breathe anymore.
have I become? Truth is nothing yet. A simple mistake starts.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What you feel only matters to you.
Roof of my mouth.
Jenna!
It's what you do to the people you love that counts.
Promise I'll do anything you ask this time.
Hey guys, welcome to the Real DVD Watchers. This week I'm reviewing Last Kiss, which stars Zach Braff and also Jacinda Barrett, Casey Affleck, Richard Bilson, Blythe Danner and Tom Wilkinson. It's basically a movie about this character who's played by Zach Braff called Michael, who's kind of going through a midlife crisis. He's just hitting the age of 30. I think he's 29. He's coming on 30, or he's just reached 30, I'm not sure. But anyway, he's in this amazing relationship with this amazing woman who is perfect. She is beautiful. She likes everything that he likes, and he's just in this perfect relationship. She's actually also pregnant as well, with his first child. So you know, he's at this perfect place in his life, and he suddenly has this crisis where he realises that there's not going to be any more surprises in his life. You know, everything's sort of set out in front of him, and he's at a wedding of one of his friends, and he meets this girl played by Rachel Bilson, who you've probably seen in things before. I can't think what it is she's actually been in, but she's been in different things. She's this actress here, and she's also very nice to look at. But she plays this kind of I think she's about 22, something like that, aged girl who takes a liking to Michael and basically starts hitting on him and invites him to a party, which he decides to go to, perhaps stupidly. He asks Casey Affleck's character, who plays a guy who is also in a kind of a crisis in his life. He's basically married. I think he's married. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they were married to this other woman. They've got a kid together, and she is just constantly on his back. She is shouting at him for apparently no reason. There's one scene where they're actually at the wedding where he picks up their child that they have together, and the child starts crying, and she just comes over and starts screaming at him like, "Why are you making my child cry?" And it's just like, you can understand why he feels all this, you know, pressure, and he doesn't really want to be a part of this family anymore. Not necessarily not wanting to be the child's father, but he just doesn't want to be with her anymore. And you can kind of understand that from both angles. You know, she is probably stressed from looking after the kid, but then at the same time she is taking out all this aggression and stuff at him. But I'll get into more of that later anyway. So yeah, he asks Casey Affleck's character to kind of create like a cover story for him whilst he's out with this girl. So Casey Affleck does a terrible job at trying to hide the fact that Michael is out partying with this girl. So Michael's girlfriend works it out, so she becomes amazingly pissed off with him and angry, and rightly so, because you know he is just sabotaging their relationship by going out with this girl who's called Kim, played by Bilson, Rachel Bilson's character. So that's kind of a really bad explanation of what happens, but he does cheat on her. Michael cheats on his girlfriend, who, like I said, he's got this perfect lifestyle, but he just wants to break free of it, and stupidly. He's one of those characters that you really like. Zach Braff plays a really great character in this. You can't help but like him, but at the same time you just think, you are such an idiot, why are you doing this? And especially there's one scene, I don't want to spoil it too much, but he kisses her. He kisses Kim, who is this girl that's much younger than him. Not his girlfriend, he kisses her. And he goes home, tells his girlfriend that they kissed. They have this amazing argument, which is probably one of the highlights of the film. They have this massive argument, and both the characters just do a really great job acting it out. But yeah, he has this argument, so he leaves the house, and he ends up going back to Kim and sleeping with her. And it's one of those moments where you're just like, no, what are you doing, you idiot? And it's one of those like really cringe-worthy things, and you just can't help thinking, oh, you stupid man, why are you doing this? But it is a very good film. I really enjoyed this, actually. I wasn't expecting to like it that much. I've owned it for God knows how long and just put off watching it, but I really did enjoy it. Zach Braff does a really great job playing the leading guy in this, but like I said, there are a lot of other characters in this as well. Casey Affleck also has this storyline where he's kind of having a crisis in his life. They also have these two other friends, and there's also Zach Braff's girlfriend's parents are also in the middle of a kind of a breakdown in their relationship. And although one of my biggest criticisms with this film is that although they have all of these other storylines going on, not all of them are resolved that well. Casey Affleck's story is resolved well. It's one of the few, alongside Zach Braff's storyline, which is obviously the main one. That's kind of resolved, and also the parents' storyline is resolved. But the two other characters, they kind of go out of the story towards the end, and you don't really hear anything from them after that. But it would have been nice to have had some sort of, I don't know, conclusion to their story. Although they kind of go off on this road trip, and that's kind of the end of their story. It just didn't feel like a great conclusion when you've seen what's happened. You spent this amount of time with them already. But otherwise, it's really great. The soundtrack is brilliant. I mean, you can kind of tell that Zach Braff basically chose the soundtrack for this movie, and you can tell if you've watched Garden State, it's a very similar soundtrack to that. A lot of sort of like Coldplay, Snow Patrol, Imogen Heap, a lot of that sort of kind of artists coming through in this, and you can really tell that it's the same. And the soundtrack really does fit as well. It's a really great mix of the on-screen action and the soundtrack that goes with it. It is really good. There's some really great direction in this movie. I should mention, actually, it's directed by it's not going to say on here. It's directed by Tony Goldwyn, who's kind of done a few TV things. I think he did some episodes of Dexter, I'm not sure, and some other bits as well. The screenwriter actually wrote Crash. He was the co-writer of Crash, and I think he did, what was the other movie he did as well? Another quite a big movie. But it's actually based on a Spanish film, I think, called La Ultima Bacio, or Baccio, I'm not sure, I don't speak Spanish, but it's very similar as far as I'm aware, but they do change the ending, I think, and from what I hear, the ending is kind of the polar opposite in each one. So I preferred this, knowing what the other ending was, I think I prefer the idea of this ending. It does have a really good ending, actually, and it does kind of have a really great scene at the end of the movie that I won't tell you about, but it's really good. It's one to watch out for. And this movie I really enjoyed. I thought it was really great. The action in it is really good. It's got a really great cast of kind of recognisable actors. A lot of them who I haven't mentioned, well, the other few that I haven't mentioned you'll recognise. You'll know them from other things. I mean, Casey Affleck obviously is really great in this movie. He's gone on and done some other films as well, which I really want to check out. I do like Casey Affleck as an actor. I think he's really good. And Zach Braff, everybody's seen that Zach Braff in Scrubs, and that's probably the one thing that he's known mostly for. But he's done these really great, more serious roles. And although this is perhaps, there are particularly at the beginning of the story, you kind of see the JD kind of character coming through, but the rest of the movie, he does play a very serious, confused character who is really likeable, and I think he's a really great actor. So definitely check this one out. I highly recommend it. It's Last Kiss, and that's it. So thank you for watching.